There was a time in my life where I thought that my whole existence was all about pleasing a man, and I would only find myself worthy if a man found me worthy. I'd shrink myself so terribly to fit into someone's narrative of me and to ensure that people just liked me. I would go against what my true self actually wanted to be, just so that I could satisfy people and make them feel good about their lives. And I was doing this all at the detriment of myself. I remember going against my intuition and doing things that my authentic self frowned at. I remember losing major parts of myself just to please others and make them happy. I thought that my whole worth and my existence was just about making people happy and then just shrinking valuable parts of myself. I thought that other people were more valuable than me. I looked down on myself and didn't think that I was worthy or I was worth anything of anything good or anything that was beautiful. To me, life was just me and them. And then by them, I meant the people who were doing life, and I owed them something. And because of that, I found myself devaluing myself on my journey along the way, and then shortchanging myself in ways that made me feel very upset and angry with myself. If this sounds like your experience, or this sounds like an experience you once had and you are looking to break free from it, this video is certainly for you, because I'm about to share with you the things that I did, the faith principles, the mindset shifts that I had to do to get rid of my low self-esteem issues and become the very super duper confident woman that I am today. But before we go right into the main video for today, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, now would be a very good time for you to join the family and be a part of what we're doing here, especially if leveling up and living the very best version of your life is of importance to you. On this channel, we share things that help you level up your mind, level up your entire life, and live life excellently and at maximum capacity. So I promise you, you will not regret subscribing and joining the Winning School of Excellence community. And then the Excellence Elite Membership Club is a club that I like to call my inner circle, where we have people who are intentional about doing the hard work and the real work that it takes to level up their lives and, of course, become the very best version of themselves. We're not admitting a lot of people because we are very particular about the quality of lives that join the club. So if you're interested in joining, I'm going to put a link in the description box down below on how you can join us and be a part of what we're doing at the Excellence Elite community. And then, of course, you also get more information on the benefits and value of being a member of the Excellence Elite Club. And then, of course, we have other valuable resources that can help you on your level up journey as well. Resources that include the Art of Speaking Excellently and Eloquently course for anyone who wants to improve their communication and speak more effectively. We also have the Mindset Reset digital resource for anyone who wants to confront the limiting beliefs that are holding them back from actually making real progress. Then for anyone who's looking to discover their purpose and craft a powerful vision for their lives and ensure that their everyday action is aligned with the vision and purpose that they have designed for their lives. We also have the Vision and Purpose Mastery webinar replay. We have other valuable resources coming up on the Winning School of Excellence resource library, but you can check these ones out just in case it applies to you and you want to level up in the areas that I have just mentioned. I'm going to put a link or links in the description box down below that can take you straight to where the resources are, and then you can get more information about them and how to access them as well. Okie dokie. So without further ado, let's get right into the main video for today, shall we? So you see this thing called low self-esteem. It has actually hampered with the lives of a lot of people. And sometimes most people don't even know how negatively low self-esteem actually impacts their overall quality of life. Low self-esteem makes you shrink below standard and makes you become a shadow of yourself. It hides your potential. It dampens your morale. It dampens and hides your skills and your competence and just makes you look like you aren't worthy or valuable, or you are not qualified to be a player in the game. For me, low self-esteem made me feel very intimidated about speaking up when I was supposed to speak up. And I know how much I lost a lot of valuable opportunities and how a lot of people literally walked all over my life simply because my self-esteem was not developed. And I thought it best to come film this video because over the past couple of months, it feels like I've been experiencing or encountering people who have great potential but are held back by their low self-esteem issues. And I said, you know what, you better come here and share your experience and give valuable knowledge on how you broke free from the shackles of low self-esteem issues. And that's pretty much what this video is all about. Before I go into sharing with you the tips that helped me overcome it, I'd like to start by defining some terms. And the terms I want to define for you right now are what self-esteem really means, and what high self-esteem is, and what low self-esteem is. And let's go straight to what self-esteem is. I put down here in very simple words for anyone to understand that self-esteem is simply the way you see yourself and how much value you place on yourself. How do you see yourself as an individual, and how much value do you place on yourself? Unfortunately, a lot of people don't see themselves as good enough. They don't see themselves as worthy. They don't see themselves as valuable. And of course, this is what low self-esteem contributes or has brought about a person's life. So self-esteem is pretty much how you think about yourself, your inner dialogue, how you feel about yourself, and then how you treat yourself. How you treat yourself is how other people will treat you. So if you've been accepting poor treatment from other people, it means that they are actually just mirroring how they see you treat yourself. So self-esteem is simply the way you see yourself and how much value you place on yourself as an individual. I put down here that, in essence, self-esteem is your internal measure of self-worth. It determines whether you walk into a room feeling like you belong or like you have to shrink yourself to be a part of the setting of that room. If that is your story, then you need to pay very close attention to everything I'm going to share in this video, because having a low self-esteem is shortchanging the quality of your life and is depriving you of the essence of life. I've talked about self-esteem. What then is high self-esteem? Somebody who has a high self-esteem recognizes their worth. They accept themselves fully. The good, the bad, the ugly. They own it with their chests, their full chests. They accept themselves very fully, confidently. And they're not afraid to talk about the negative sides. And the same way they're not afraid and they're very confident to talk about the positive sides of their lives. And then they approach life with a lot of confidence. You can tell when a person has a high sense of self-esteem. They're bold, they're courageous, they're confident, they know what they want, they know how to communicate what they want, and they are not sorry about communicating what they want, because they have come to understand that they are valuable, they are worthy, and they're impactful, and they will not accept bare minimum behavior from anyone because they are not treating themselves with bare minimum behavior. Now, someone who has a low self-esteem, on the other hand, which is something that I personally once experienced, is the person usually would doubt their abilities. They feel less than others. These are all of the things I felt when I was going through that phase of my life. And then, of course, they often seek external validation to feel good about themselves. Someone with low self-esteem issues never sees anything good about themselves. And even when other people are complimenting them on the good that they can see in them, they never accept it because they don't believe that the person is saying the truth. They feel, oh, this person is probably just trying to whine me, or there's an ulterior motive to why this person is telling me that there's good in me. So somebody with low self-esteem never believes that there is good in them. Low self-esteem feels like insecurity, constant comparison. You want to please people. This is something I did for so long in my life, especially during my dating phase or dating experience with other men, because I didn't know any better. So I will shrink myself, I will shortchange myself, I will try to fit into a box just to please these men and make them happy, because I felt like my worth depended on a man being happy with me, and anything that the man considered things that make him happy, or I would even observe his mood to see when I made him happy, I would shrink myself even when it was at my own detriment. Even when I knew that I wasn't happy doing it, I would want to do it just because I wanted to please this man. Not just men, even to the people who shared the same sex as me, my gender. It happened to when I would deal with elderly people, younger people. I would literally shrink myself just to please these people and accommodate their excesses. It was chipping at my entire life. Low self-esteem looks like negative self-talk. You continue to talk so bad about yourself. You have a high level of self-doubt. You never believe that you're good enough or you're competent. You continue to over-apologize even when you've done nothing wrong, and you don't know how to speak up for yourself. People are hurting and tramping on you, but you don't know how to speak up for yourself. You watch opportunities continue to pass you by on a daily basis. Those are signs that show that you have very low self-esteem issues. And I tell you something, your low self-esteem issues, if you have one, it's not follow come. It's not what they call follow come. You probably took on these traits based on different experiences, majorly from childhood experiences or childhood traumas. What was your foundational years of life like? Did you have anybody building you up or pep talking you into believing that you're worthy? Did you have anybody telling you the things that you needed to hear to let you know you were valuable? Or did you face constant rejection? Even in your adult years, do you keep getting rejected by people? You find yourself failing time and time again and never seem to be succeeding? You find yourself entwined in very unhealthy relationships that leave you drained. And then, of course, cultural and societal pressure can make you have very low self-esteem issues. I mean, culture or society would always say, you have to be married at this age, you have to have this job at this age, by this age you have to have a car, by this age you have to have a job, by this age you have to have an amount of money in your accounts. All of those things can actually contribute to a person's low self-esteem issues. The question you want to ask yourself is, on a scale of 1 to 10 or from 1 to 100, what level is your self-esteem on? Let's use 1 to 10. If your self-esteem is on 5 and below, then you have a lot of work to do. If it's on 5 and above, you still have a lot of work to do, because everybody's self-esteem should always be on a 10-10 at all times. And I say at all times because the quality of your life is pretty much shaped by the level of how much you esteem yourself as a person, the level of your self-worth, the level of your self-esteem, not the esteem you get from other people, the one you give yourself. Even when other people are not esteeming you or clapping for you or making you feel like you're worthy, you still know you're worthy. When other people are coming to you and making you feel like you're down and you're nothing, you know that you know that you know, and it cannot be taken away from you that you know that you are somebody who is worthy and valuable. So pause this video right now and do a self-assessment of yourself and ask yourself, what level is my self-esteem? How high is it or how low is it? I mean, keep watching because you might get a few insight on how you can literally shoot that self-esteem to a whole new level. My breaking point, I'm going to share the experience that actually led me to my turning point. And I said, enough is enough. Enough is enough with this bullshit. Because at this time in my life, I was becoming, I was learning, I was growing, and I started to know things, and I started to feel like, no, there's certain things I shouldn't be accepting anymore. I was dating this guy. I was in the university. I remember very clearly. I just got into school. And I was dating this guy. And because I had very low self-esteem issues, I felt like, oh, I had to do everything he wanted me to do to be on his good side, like I mentioned earlier. And so this guy, 1 month into the relationship, of course, I had already said things like, oh, I personally am not big on having sex before marriage. I don't do all of that. As a naive girl, I already had moral values. But of course, this guy had ulterior motives. So I remember he started tripping me with gifts, and I will never forget that he bought me a BlackBerry Bold 5, a white one. Yes, I have stories, and I'm going to be sharing my stories in form of lessons like this so that we can all continue to learn. This is the only one I'm going to be sharing in this particular episode. This guy had bought me this BlackBerry Bold 5, a white one. I will never forget. And I was like, oh my God, he bought me a phone. Bare minimum rubbish. But then I thought he had given me the whole world. But that was bare minimum behavior. And if you are here watching me and you have one guy tripping you with things and you're happy, he bought me a phone. That's not love. That's bare minimum behavior. Don't see that as anything worthy. Anyways, I digress. This guy buys me this phone, and then I started to notice a change in his behavior. He started to talk to me anyhow. And then one day he threatened that he was going to take the phone away from me because I had done something that he didn't like. And I was like, oh no, I needed this phone that I now have that I don't want to give up and all of that. One day we decided to go on a date. We went to the movies, I remember. We were in Unilag then. We went to Ozone Cinema at Sabo. We went to watch a movie. After watching the movie, this guy was supposed to take me to my house. And then on our way home, I noticed he diverted and started going towards the university campus because he was living on campus. I was like, no, where are you going? He said, oh, I'm going to my room. I want us to go and chill. And I was like, no, I want to go home because it was already past 6. I want to go home. Take me home. And he was like, no, that today he's going to have, the conversation led to, he's going to have his way that why would he have a girlfriend that he doesn't have sex with? And I was like, you must take me home. So I became very agitated at this point. And I'm like, you must take me to my house. And the guy kept saying no, still kept driving towards school. And I was like, no, stop the car. And before I knew what happened, guys, ladies and gents, you know what happened? This boy packed in the middle of the road. I remember he now turned into a street that was very quiet and deserted. Parked in the middle of the road. Came down from his side of the car. Came to my side of the car. Yanked the white phone he had bought for me off my hand. Out of my hand. Carried my handbag. A whole me. Think about me. Winifred Wanya. A man did this to me in my young age. Yanked my bag out of his car. Flung it to the sidewalk. Yanked me out. Me. Think about me. Yanked me out of his car. Flung me out. Hit the door. Walked back to his side. Entered the car like a foolish man that he is. And then this man shut his door and drove off. Picture it. People should please help me picture that moment. I mean, when I look back at that moment, I laugh now because that was actually the turning point for me. And that was when I said, you know what? Enough is enough. I didn't have a dime in my bag that day as transportation. You know that thing they call vex money is real. Always have vex money in your bag. If you're a young girl watching, I always have vex money in your bag. I didn't have no vex money in my bag. And I had to trek from that place to my house, sobbing and wailing on the road like a hopeless girl. I remember I got home. I couldn't even tell my mom. I couldn't tell anybody because one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. But that was the day I said, enough is enough. Nobody was ever going to do this to me ever again. Of course, I never spoke to the guy again till this day, but I made up my mind that nobody was ever going to do it to me anymore just because you had material resources that I didn't have. And I think that that's actually one of the major reasons why I'm fueled up and determined. And this is my independent lifestyle. I'm living this on a max pro level and nobody can ever take it away from me. But that was actually what inspired me to say enough is enough with myself, and I decided to fix my life, get my life into order so that that thing would never happen to me again. And I'm here to announce to you that was the first and the last time it ever happened, and it will never happen, not on my watch, and not as long as I have breath inside of my nose, that a man will fling me out of his car because of a BlackBerry phone. Please, where's my second phone? My second phone, quickly. And I'm doing this for effect. And if you are watching me, you, that guy that did this thing, shame on you. You hear me? Shame on you. I have two mobile, I'm not doing this to brag, but I'm just showing you how I leveled up my life. I mean, my life is not leveled up based on material things, but I'm just trying to prove a point here. By fixing my self-esteem issues, I was able to do for myself what people were doing for me and were mocking me and making me feel less than myself because they were doing for me. And I said, enough is enough. And the tips, practical steps that I used to get my self-worth back is what I'm about to teach you in today's video. So pay close attention. But for you, I would only pronounce your initials, H-O. Shame on you, man. Shame on you. I'm happy I did that. I feel liberated by my action. Anyways, back to the matter. The very first thing that I did to get my self-confidence and my self-worth back on a maximum level is I discovered my true identity. I discovered my true identity. A lot of people are living this life not knowing who they are or whose they are. And I'm so grateful to God that I came in contact with my man of God, Pastor Chris Oyakilome. I came in contact with his teaching. I came in contact with the church. And how I came in contact with it was a friend of mine was listening to something on his AirPods at the time. It was iPod. Yeah, it was an iPod. And he had a message by Pastor Chris titled The Transcendent Life. It was a 3-part message. I listened to that message, and that was when I realized that my life had more meaning than what I thought my life had. And that message taught me of my true identity in God. It was the first time I was ever hearing of the things God had deposited and given to me as a person. It was one of the first times I started to hear things like my life had a meaning and I had a purpose for living and my life was valuable and my life was worthy. And after listening to that message, I wanted to learn more. I wanted to gain more, and I found myself in Christ Embassy. I found myself in the church, learning the truth about my life and my existence from the Word of God. On that journey, I started to figure out who I am as a person, where I originated from, and I realized that my true identity and my true origin did not come from my parents. It's not from my earthly parents or my earthly origin. It came from God, the giver of life, who made my existence valuable and who sent me to this earth to fulfill a certain purpose. My eyes was open. It was like a light bulb moment. And from that day till this very day, I am still feasting on the word of God and the truth of God's word about my life that shut up so much confidence in my bones and made me realize that I am not a nobody. I am a somebody with the fullness of the Spirit of God in her, and I can do all things through him that strengthens me. I learned so much by just understanding my true identity, identifying myself with it, and clinging to it. And I still cling on to that identity right now. Like my whole life depends on it, because my life depends on it. My identity taught me that I was bold and courageous. My identity taught me that I was strong in God and in the power of his might. My identity taught me that I had a shepherd who cared about me, who loves me beyond measure, who loves me unconditionally, whose love cannot be likened to the love of a man who is full of conditions and limits and whatever. His love is sustainable. His love is real. His love is genuine. His love stands the test of time. That's what I learned when I discovered my true identity. I discovered that I was a child of the Most High God. And from that day till now, I usually will call myself God's best daughter, because I realized that indeed I was the apple of my Father's eyes. I was the joy that fills his heart. God's eyes are constantly watchful over me. He's so jealous of me and ensures that I am protected and preserved. Guess what he did? He gave his angels charge over me to keep me in all of my ways. They prevent me from stumbling and falling. That's the kind of God that I serve. And that's where my identity lies. I don't know where yours is. Who is your maker? Where is your identity? Who is your source? That would determine to a large extent how much valuable you see yourself. I saw myself as very valuable when I discovered that God left his throne. The King of Kings left his kingdom and came to the earth in form of a man. Why? To shed his blood for me and sacrifice his life for me so that I would have life and have it abundantly. How dare you? How dare you fling me, a child of God, out of your car? How dare you? Of course, I'll never put myself in a position where a man can fling me out of his car. I'll buy him the cars, buy him the whole automobile feeling. I'll buy him everything, and I'll take care of the car for the next 100 years. That's the kind of person I am now. And how did I become this person? Because I found my true identity in Christ. Who are you? Who is your source? Who is your daddy? Who is your daddy? Do you glory in men or do you glory in God? You may be watching and if you don't believe in God, that's fine. I'm telling you how I fixed my own self-esteem issues. You can take a cue from a lesson or two from what I'm sharing today. But as for me, I found my true identity and learned a lot about my true identity. And that is one major thing that has built unshakable confidence in me that come what may, no one can treat me like I'm not worthy, because the one who made me did not make me with mistakes. He didn't stutter when he said, you, my darling, you are worthy, you are valuable, you are bought with a special price. And if you wanted to hurt me and get to me, you would have to pay the same price that Jesus Christ paid, his blood. Unfortunately, you don't have it. So you can't tell me that I'm less than what God has said that I am. That's how I built back my self-confidence. Because that's the very first thing I did. I did a lot of other things. So let's go to step 2, shall we? Guys, pardon my passion, because I know that you will feel the exact same way if you are as liberated as I am. Like, I walk with my shoulders held high because my self-esteem issues has been fixed at maximum level. Anyways, let's continue. Of course, when you find your true identity in Christ, you start to learn more about where you're from, your origin, and then the principles and things that you need to do to maintain that identity. So I started to learn things like prayer, worship, giving, loving. I started to learn concept of faith. I started to study my Bible voraciously. I learned about prayer so much that right now, me and prayer, you cannot separate the two of us, because it's the one thing that I have that has built some confidence in me. I learned about the Holy Spirit, his ministry in my life. Learning about him and what he does for me has given me so much boldness and so much courage to face this world with a voracious appetite for success and for winning. The second thing that I had to do was I had to reframe my mindset. There had to be a reframing of mindset, because I grew up, for example, watching my mom get timid and afraid over challenges and obstacles that she would face. I don't blame her. Her husband left her at a very young age, so she was saddled with the responsibility of taking care of so many things by herself. So I watched her shrink. I watched her feel powerless when things were happening that were beyond her control. I watched her become a shadow of herself. Things like that I actually learned when I was younger. I felt like I should be afraid of situations. I didn't know courage. I didn't know boldness. So those things that shaped my mindset as a young girl, that made me timid and made me acquire this low self-esteem, I had to fix. And by doing that, I had to reframe my mindset. How did I reframe my mindset? I started exposing myself to information. I started reading. I started exposing myself to new experiences, new ways of thinking. I learned the power of affirmations, positive affirmations, talking myself up at every single time, telling myself the things that I would learn and study from the Word of God, that the Lord is my shepherd, I would not want. I lay down in green pastures all the time. I started to talk that I am wonderfully and fearfully made. I am God's chosen generation. I'm His royal priesthood. I was born to display His virtues, His excellencies, His perfections, His righteousness. So these are the things I started saying about myself. I replaced negative self-talk with affirmations of truth, affirmations that empowered me, that empowered my mindset, empowered me in every area. In just the shortest possible time, I started to see the literal transformation. It felt like magic. But it was a principle that literally worked. And I understood that for me to move forward and advance in my life, I had to go first deal with the limiting beliefs that were affecting my mindset and holding me down and keeping me from moving forward or moving into the next phase of my or level of my life that I now knew that I've been called into. Remember, I was trying to leave a place. I was trying to leave something, and my physical actions at that point were shaped by the mindsets that I had acquired along my journey. And for me to leave that place successfully and get into another place of high self-esteem, I needed to first of all deal with the mindset. I had to remove the mental blocks that were stopping me from actually coming out of that darkness that I call low self-esteem and into light that I now call high self-esteem. So I had to reframe my thinking. I had to reframe my mindset. And this is actually one of the major reasons why we decided to create the digital resource called the Mindset Reset Digital Resource. That digital resource is a resource that's going to literally help you confront the mental block, the limiting beliefs that are holding you back from advancing and moving to your next level. You cannot be greater than your belief system. You can't be greater than your mindset. What you believe is what is going to be your reality. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't even know how their limiting beliefs is affecting and hampering their lives right now. And so if you are the person who wants to break free from limiting beliefs and you literally want to advance the course of your life, you need to deal with those mental blocks. Sometimes the problem is not that you don't have money. Sometimes the problem is not that you're not good enough or you don't have opportunities or you don't have access. The problem sometimes is with your mind. I dare encourage you to break free from the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. I'm going to put a link to the digital resource in the description box down below for anyone who is interested in accessing it. Access it and begin your journey to reframing your mindset and empowering yourself with the right belief system that actually causes you to advance and make tremendous progress in your life. And then, that's pretty much what I did. I started to reframe from my mindset from that of lack to abundance. I started to think successful thoughts instead of thinking about failure. I stopped thinking I was weak. I stopped thinking that I was poor. I stopped thinking all of those thoughts and I started to think thoughts that empowered me based on the truth that I was learning from finding my true identity in Christ. That's the second major thing I did. I reframed my mindset. The third thing I know that I did that helped me build up my self-esteem to a high level is I took ownership of my life and I stopped waiting for other people to define my life for me. I defined my life. I owned my definition and I ran with that definition. And again, you can't truly define your life if you haven't first discovered your true identity. Where are you from? Because your definition of your life will come from that place. Who do you think you are? What do you think you are? Who do you think you belong to? Where do you think you stem from or you originate from? What do you think you can do? I took ownership of my life. I stopped blaming my father and my mother for not providing me the things that they were supposed to provide for me. I stopped blaming any uncle. I stopped blaming circumstances. I stopped blaming situations. I stopped blaming all of those things. I took ownership. I said, I'm where I am right now in my life. Okay, I accept it. But how do I go from here to here? I took ownership and then I started taking the steps and doing the things that allowed me to go from where I was to where I knew that I was destined to be. But you can't do that if you don't first, of course, find your true identity and then Take ownership for your life. Stop waiting to be approved and validated by others. Start approving and validating yourself. Start walking in the light of who you are. Start understanding your worth and your value. And this can only happen when you take full ownership. Take full charge of your life and start making your life what you know God has destined your life to be. Okay? The next thing I did to build up my self-esteem was I started building habits that boosted my confidence. First of all, I started working on my physical appearance. It took a long while, I tell you for free. It took a long while for me to fix things with my physical appearance. But when I got it 10-10. And I'm seeing the impact and the rewards of it. We wrote a whole book about it. The book is called Style Up Girl. I know I've talked about this book for the longest time. We are in the final phases of releasing the book. As if the book is not already released, but very soon you guys will lay your hands on it, on how to find your style, how to use your physical appearance to position yourself correctly and live your life of purpose at maximum level. It will show you how to find your style. You would understand your body type, your face type, how to dress your unique body type, how to look good, how to look 10-10. Kiss, chef's kiss. So anyways, I started to master how to take care of my physical appearance, how to take care of my skin. That's also in the book. How to take care of your body carriage, to develop a body carriage that is unshakable, that is grounded in real confidence. Then I also started to build competence. I started to develop myself in the area of my skills, in the area of my knowledge. I started to acquire so much knowledge, and not just acquire the knowledge. I applied the acquisition of whatever I was learning. As I was learning, I was applying it immediately in my life. And there's something else at this point is I poured into my work. I stopped caring about pleasing people. I stopped living my life for other people and started living my life for me. I saw my life as a building, and I was responsible for how high and how big that building was going to go. So I started from the foundation, of course, finding my identity, discovering who I was, taking ownership of my life, saying to myself, my life is my life and it is nobody else's. I'm going to decide what happens in my life. I reframed my mindset, reframed my way of thinking. I started building my foundation. Then after foundation, I went to the first story to the first layer. That's the first story. I built that one. Went to the second, built it. I think my life is now maybe, if I'll calculate correctly, maybe I'm in my 50th story building. And that's because I took focus away from other people and focused it on myself. I stopped caring about what people thought about me. I stopped trying to impress them. I stopped trying to receive validation or approval from them. And it was all about me. It may sound selfish, but hey, that was my reality. And that's how I was able to build up the building of my life to what it is right now. I'm still building and I'm still growing. And pretty much it has helped me in so many ways to develop an unshakable confidence that fixed my self-esteem issues. Something else I did was I shifted my environment. I distanced myself from toxic people that drained me, people that looked down on me, people that belittled me. I had a lot of those kind of people. In fact, I had a lot of guys who did that to me. Of course, I don't blame them. They mirrored how I was treating myself and treated me that way. So they belittled me, looked down on me, took advantage of me in ways that hurt in so many ways. But I said enough is enough. So I cut them out of my life, reworked my whole life, rewired my whole environment, and only surrounded myself with people that uplift me, people that encourage me, people that love me, people that are like-minded like me, who are ambitious, who are goal-driven, goal-oriented, who are achievers. And I just surrounded myself with those kind of people. I fixed my environment. I made it so tight that people around me are the people that are worthy of something. You don't have access to me. In fact, at some point, I had to change my phone number. Yes, I changed my phone number to another number that only a few people, only select few in this world have. And if you have that phone number, if you have that personal phone number, you should consider yourself one of Winnie's inner circle. Very tight. And then, of course, I set healthy boundaries. I set healthy boundaries and I enforce my boundaries every day. Don't get me wrong, along the course of this journey to leveling up my self-esteem, I lost a lot of people. A lot of people that, of course, weren't adding anything to my life in any way. They fell by the wayside as I continued on this journey. And I was happy to have them fall because they were extra baggage that I didn't need on my new level of becoming a woman of high self-esteem. So yeah, that's something I did. I fixed my environment. I rid my environment of toxic people, replaced it with healthy relationships that help me personally thrive, while I also contribute to helping the people in my inner circle thrive as well. Okay. The next thing that I did was I reparented myself. I've told my story on how I healed from my childhood traumas, and I also shared a little bit about my background in that story. You can find the episode somewhere on the channel. And I remember I said in that video that I lost my dad at the age of 12, and my mom was saddled with the responsibility of taking care of 7 children. So you can understand that her priority then was putting food on our table and making us go to proper schools. And then because of that, she didn't give us some very valuable trainings that we needed to face life head on. And because we didn't have those trainings and we weren't developed in those areas, life was hard. At least for me, let me say that for myself. Life was very hard. I experienced the lack of those trainings in my adult years. Of course, that's what made me decide that, you know what, no, I needed to do better and seek better results for myself. And in that process, I reparented myself. I started teaching myself what my parents were supposed to teach me but didn't teach me. I started to learn things like loyalty, respect, values like honesty, values like financial literacy. I started to learn like quality values that made me a quality person. I started working on my communication skills. I started to learn how to show up for myself in confidence. I started to learn myself. I reparented myself pretty much. I sat down, reflected, and one book that helped me, I've talked about that book a lot, is Inner Child Healing by Damien Blair. That book helped me confront my inner child, talk to that little Winnie who was confused, who was going through a lot. She didn't beg to be there, but she found herself there. And because of that, life was really, really blurred. She went through a lot. She went through a lot. And so that book taught me how to go back and fix that little Winnie so that she could stop disturbing with my adult years and my adult life. So I sat down, reflected on the abuse she faced, the loss she encountered, the confusion that she went through on her journey, and I started to help her fix things. Like I literally had to stop and help that little girl fix things. And that's when I started showing myself grace. I started showing myself compassion. I started forgiving myself. I started learning that mistakes were not supposed to make me feel like I wasn't good enough. Mistakes were part of the journey, were part of my process. So much happened on that journey of reparenting myself, and I'm so glad it was something that I did. And that literally helped me take my self-esteem from this to if you don't get it, forget it. And one final thing that helped me along the course of my journey was I discovered my purpose and crafted a powerful vision for my life. I remember when I started my journey to purpose discovery, and I would always tugged at the garment of God. I know that God didn't rest that period, and he said, nah, I need to answer this girl. It was like that parable that Jesus gave in Luke 18, where that widow or that woman was bothering the king so much. She bothered the king so much that the king had to say, you know what, we need to answer this woman. If not, she will keep pestering us. I was like that with God. I'm like, God, I need to know my purpose. I don't want to waste another second on this earth not knowing what you called me to do. I feel it's a waste of my entire life and my time, and I don't want to be that person. And I know how God took me on a journey to purpose discovery, and then from there he started to set a clear vision of what the things he wanted me to accomplish, the heights he wanted me to get in my life. And I remember doing my first, of course, before I went into the vision board creation, I usually would write my vision down on paper. I would write things down very clear, very specific, the things I wanted to achieve with my life. Then I went into the vision board. I created vision boards. This is my second vision board. The first one I've accomplished every single one of them. And you can imagine how creating a vision board or writing down your vision and accomplishing your vision, you can imagine how that shoots up a person's self-esteem and takes it to a high level. So I discovered my purpose, crafted a vision, and then I ensured that my everyday actionable steps were aligned and tailor-made to that vision and purpose. I refused to be distracted by anybody who tried to distract me. I lost people along the way. Close people were lost. They fell down because I saw them as distraction. I lasered focus on the life I knew God was calling me to live. And that was one thing that definitely helped me get my self-esteem back up to the highest. Now there is no mountain that is too high for me to reach. In fact, I live life from the highest mountaintop, and I'm looking at life and approaching situations from that place with an unshakable confidence that can never be broken. So yes, discovering my purpose and working in line with it and crafting a powerful vision for my life and aligning my everyday actions to that vision and purpose definitely helped me increase my level of self-esteem to the highest. And if you want to be like that, we have the Vision and Purpose Mastery webinar. It has already happened, but the replay is available for anyone who wants to lay their hands on it. You want to discover your purpose or gain more clarity on purpose discovery and how you can actually walk in line with your purpose, find fulfillment, satisfaction, joy from the purpose that God has called you to live, and then of course craft a powerful vision that is tailor-made for that purpose, and then ensure that your actionable steps are aligned with that purpose, then I highly recommend that you get access to the Vision and Purpose Mastery webinar replay. It would definitely give you all the insight. We spent 7 hours that day dissecting vision and purpose, and hundreds of people left that webinar re-energized, re-empowered, and a lot of them have actually also purchased the replay because they want to keep learning at their own time and at their own pace. So I highly recommend it for you, and that's something that actually helped me develop such a high level of self-esteem. Like I said before, when you are working with a low self-esteem or you have low self-esteem issues, you are actually shortchanging yourself from living the true life that God has called and destined for you to live. You are hurting yourself in more ways than one. And it's my greatest desire that everybody actually breaks free from this thing called low self-esteem or shyness or lack of confidence and moves up to a higher place where you are confident, you are audacious, you are bold, you are courageous to do life on the level that God has called you to do it. Now, of course, when you decide to embark on this journey to improving your self-esteem, it's not going to happen overnight. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be some challenges. Sometimes you would even doubt yourself as to if you're making progress or not. But I tell you, if you continue at it long enough, continue to apply the principles that I've shared here, and there's some other principles that God would expose you to as you continue on your journey, you definitely will get to the other side successfully. You are looking at one person. Remember the story I told you earlier? Somebody, man, threw me out of his car. Me, Winifred Nwanya. If I was that girl and I'm this girl now, there is no limit to your own transformation. Your transformation is possible. And I'm looking forward to you coming to this other side where you are bold, audacious, confident, fully knowing that you are valuable and you are absolutely worthy. Because I tell you that when you step into that other side, the results are so freaking loud. Life will play for you on a level that you didn't even expect. That's beyond your wildest imagination. You will be on the field playing with the real players. You will not be a spectator standing by the sidelines and watching people play the game of life. You will be on that field playing it with them. Fixing my self-esteem issues and getting it to a high level has made me financially prosperous, spiritually prosperous, mentally prosperous, emotionally prosperous, materially prosperous, physically prosperous. Name it. All levels of prosperity I have it. In friendship, I'm prosperous. I have quality relationships that build me up and lift me up. And that could only happen because I fixed my self-esteem issues. I'm just going to encourage anyone who is watching me today. It's worth it when you make the conscious effort and decide to fix your self-esteem issues. Yes, nothing should chip at your confidence. Nothing should chip at your self-esteem. God made you in His image and in His likeness. You are full, you are complete, you are whole, you are valuable, you are worthy. You are as worthy as that person who you think is more worthy than you. You are as valuable as that person who you think is more valuable than you. You have what it takes. If they have it, you have it, even times 10 of them. You need to learn to develop yours and make yours blossom. Make it beautiful. Make it visible. If they can, you can. If I can, you can. And I'm definitely rooting for you. And finally, if you're dealing with self-esteem issues and you think you need a hand to help you on your journey, you can book a one-on-one consultation with me. I'm going to leave a link in the description box down below. I can guide you personally on what steps that you need to take if you need hand holding, and we'll work that journey together. And remember the other resources I talked about, the Mindset Reset digital resource. If you think that it's the limiting beliefs or mental blocks that are holding you back from moving forward, get access to the digital resource, get access and fix your self-esteem, fix your confidence. If you need to learn skills like communication, get access to the Art of Speaking Eloquently and Excellently course. If you want to discover your purpose, get access to the Vision and Purpose Mastery webinar. Get access to knowledge, get access to information, and start empowering yourself with these things that take you to the next level. Stop waiting for life to fix your life. Fix your life by yourself. You have the power, you have the ability, you have the wisdom, you have the strength. Go for it now and stop waiting another minute. Okay, dokie. All right, my excellent family, that's pretty much it for today's video. Yes, I know I'm so passionate in my word. I just feel like sometimes this thing needs to be passionately communicated so that people can get the real message. I hope you've learned a thing or two, and if you have, please remember to share this video with your family and friends so that we can all continue to grow and level up together. Subscribe and join the community if you haven't subscribed, and I'll see you again next week with another video. Until then, continue to stay excellent. Take care.